Feeling optimistic and feeling great. Mark is having stem cell treatments to try to arrest the progress of muscular disease. I do have an update directly from Pops this morning. From Mark's, thank you all for the prayers and well wishes. I am hearing a lot of hopeful bond talk for later today. I also have multiple reports that currencies are not paying out yet. Saleh, the financial advisor, has talked about the float, a managed float or a mixture of the peg and the float which would be considered flexible. These guys are going to do what they think is the most positive, they're not going to try to hurt the situation. They're going to try to make themselves successful. U.S. State Department, our commitment to the relationship with the Kurdistan region is firm. Saleh was talking about the floats and he was also talking to us about fixed rates. He's saying no decisions have been made. They talked about the pros and the cons of each one of these options. Then the CBI came out and said in the coming days we will make actions to lower the dollar exchange rate. Frank, can the CBI lower the dollar exchange rate? No. Yes. How? Firefly, the CBI's job is not to control the dollar. They can't touch a dollar, but the CBI can touch the dinar. If they lifted the value of our currency, wouldn't that bring down the value of the dollar in our country? Let's see if that is the only thing the CBI could do to bring the dollar down is raise the dinar. They say in coming days. Iraq avoids the grey list. Iraq was on a black list at one time. Then they moved to the grey list, which we thought, wow, that's pretty good, we're moving forward. Now they're saying Iraq has avoided the grey list. Quote, in a remarkable development, the Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Office in Iraq announced the country is far from being included in the grey list after the mutual international evaluation Iraq underwent for 14 months. Sounds pretty intense. What happened to Kuwait basically is the same thing. Whatever is happening to Iraq, it happened already to Kuwait. After the war, Kuwait went back to normal. The American people who held and bought those notes when it was down made a lot of money. That's for sure. Now the scenario is repeating itself with Iraq. Iraq avoids the grey list, temporary victory or the beginning of a new crisis. Government advisor, Al-Alaq's upcoming visit to New York will support the protection and stability of the banking system. Quote, the Prime Minister's advisor for financial affairs, Mazar Mohammed Saleh, pointed out that the file of the sanctioned banks requires negotiation due to the possibility of an error or exaggeration in issuing the decision to sanction them. There will be meetings held with the Federal Bank and the U.S. Treasury Department at the end of this August. The federal court rejected on Tuesday the appeal submitted by MP Riyad al-Maliki against Parliamentary Resolution No. 64 of 2024 regarding the approval of the House of Representatives of the budget schedules. Al-Maliki said in a statement received by Shafaq news agency, the court justified its response by the lack of jurisdiction to consider the appeal in its form submitted against the parliamentary decision. He added, what is required for the appeal? Perhaps you mean that it should be submitted directly against the schedules, and in this case also the appeal will be rejected based on the provisions of the internal regulations that prevent non-governmental bodies from appealing, whether they are representatives of the people or citizens, Article 22 of the internal regulations. He pointed out that at the same time, the court rejected the appeal submitted by the member of the Finance Committee, MP Mustafa al-Karyawi, who challenged the schedules, and justified the response by saying that he had no interest in the appeal. Al-Maliki continued, it was expected that the appeals would be rejected because the court would give priority to what it considers to be the supreme interest of the state by proceeding with the implementation of the budget schedules and would not set things back regardless of the existence of valid legal reasons for the appeal. Member of the State of Law Coalition, Ahmed al-Sudani, confirmed today, Tuesday, that cancelling the security agreement with the United States of America is the first step to withdrawing its forces from Iraq. Al-Sudani said in a statement to Al-Maluma agency, the recent dialogues with the American administration did not lead to anything new regarding the presence of its forces inside Iraq, noting that the American bases deployed in Iraq are still continuing their missions.